Back, everyone. This morning, we want to take a moment to highlight people in our community trying to make a difference. In fact, a local business is making sure their employees are able to be inclusive. 41 Action News reporter Jordan Betts is live this morning to explain what they are doing that's a little unique. Good morning, Jordan.
Very, very unique. Here at Ca Phe, the staff wants people to know who are deaf or hard of hearing to know when they come in here and they want to order their favorite cup of joe, they're not going to have a problem, as all employees here at the cafe are required to take at least a beginner's class to know the American Sign Language. So making sure all customers are welcomed here at the cafe. Yesterday, they got to work on their signing, all the employees, as people from the deaf, hard of hearing community, as well as ASL students came in for a sipping and signing event. So everyone got to enjoy their favorite cup of joe and sign together. And this was a partnership between The Whole Person and Blip Roasters.
We, as a company, just really wanted to become their friends versus spend time trying to communicate and trying to figure out what they were saying. And so we took a class called ASL for the Coffee Professional that's held by Mickey. And we learned, basic vocabulary, coffee, espresso, how are you, things like that to be able to communicate to the deaf community.
The owner that you just heard from says she wants to really focus on inclusivity, but for all people, especially those who feel marginalized. And so they're not open today or tomorrow, but you can come to the cafe when it opens on Tuesday. I love people that are including more and more people into their business to make sure everybody feels welcome. Bryant.
And we are talking about snow. After April 19th, since 1888, it has snowed only 7 years in Kansas City. Are we going to add 2021 to this list? We're going to talk about that coming up.
Here's your latest Kansas City forecast from meteorologist Jeff Penner.
Good Sunday morning. Tree pollinators suffering from allergies. Oak, ash, mulberry are high. Mold is low to moderate. And the pollen and the trees are going to have a little hard time blooming more this week as we have a chance of snow. Now, the Royals go for the series win today out at the K, and the weather's looking pretty good. There are a few rain showers out there. I'll show you that in a second. 44 degrees, 600ths of an inch of rain, but that was yesterday afternoon and evening. On Weather Track radar, heaviest rain is between Clinton and Sedalia. A little disturbance there. East of Richmond, there's a little disturbance. There's another one near Leavenworth with a couple little heavier downpours. So some light to moderate showers moving by, mainly north of I-70, and they will get out of here by game time. So through the morning, they'll move through and then out. As this afternoon, we'll get up to around 61 degrees, and there's those showers off to the east of Columbia. Maybe a couple a little there in central Missouri. But what we're turning our attention to is a cold front to the north. A cold blast with temperatures in the 30s during the day in Canada today, dropping into North Dakota this evening, and there's a little bit of rain along the front, but by tomorrow early afternoon, this front will be on our doorstep right near Kansas City with 60s and 70s south, widespread 30s in Nebraska and Iowa to the north in April during the afternoon. So part of the day tomorrow will be okay, and then you'll know when the cold front comes through. So let's go through this here as we look at 1 p.m. Don't need to draw the front in. Looks like some new data has come in, about 65 around 1 p.m., 70 in Emporia, to 42 in Maryville, and then during the day that front will come through. It'll stay dry all day. Clouds will increase during the afternoon. We'll drop to around 50 by 5 p.m., 39 in Maryville, and then as we go through the evening, temperatures will continue to drop, but it'll be dry. The precipitation across Iowa, then we get to 2 a.m. There is that line of precipitation, rain, snow. 33 St. Joseph, 31 Hiawatha, and Maryville where it's snowing, and we're in the mid-30s, and I think it's going to be cold enough this time to snow. About a month ago, temperatures didn't fall below 36, and so it stayed rain. This is a little different story. And then 2 to 7 a.m., here it comes right into Kansas City. Snow, some of that white there is heavy at times. 31 to 32. Surely it won't stick. If it comes down hard enough, long enough, and especially with the sun either not have risen yet or shortly after sunrise, it'll stick. And even to roads as well. It'll stick more on the grass, but the roads won't be completely wet. But it's also April, and it moves out fairly quickly so that by noon, long gone, even changes to rain in eastern Missouri. We warm up into near 40, might even see a little sun, so the snow will melt quickly. but it will fall quickly. How much are we expecting? Looks like about a 1 to 3 inch event. This data has heavier band 2 to 4 Weldor Northwest and maybe 2 to 3 Marshall Harrisonville. We're about 1 to 2 inches. So 1 to 3 is likely. This would be on the grassy surfaces, but a little less on the roads, but still on the roads. So the forecast today, no snow. A few morning showers and partly to mostly cloudy. A nice afternoon. 61, clear, calm, and cool tonight, 40 degrees. And then on Monday, we are looking at sunny and nice, warming to the 60s in the morning, then dropping to the 40s in the afternoon, windy and colder, leading to tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m., dry, windy, cold, temperatures dropping to the 30s. The main chance of snow, 2 to 10 a.m. Tuesday. Temperatures around 30, that's when some slick spots are possible. Then after 10 a.m., it moves out, 1 to 3 inches possible, and the roads will improve once again and even maybe dry out as spring tries to come back here at the end of the week. Maybe some rain on Friday, but possible hard freeze Thursday morning.
Oh boy, we'll be ready for it, Jeff. Thank you very much. Time right now, 8:18. One person was hurt in a shooting in Kansas City, Missouri. Officers were called just before 7 p.m. Saturday to North Corrington Avenue near Northeast 43rd Street. They found a victim who was sent to the hospital. At this moment, we don't know how badly this person was hurt, but we'll be working to get some new information. As soon as we have it, we'll bring it to you. Meanwhile, 5 people, including 3 Kansas City police officers, went to the hospital after 2 separate crashes. First crash happened not too far from an off-duty officer near 28th and Southwest Boulevard. While at the scene, a pole knocked over onto the officer. The person faces non-life-threatening injuries. However, while going to help that officer, another police car was involved in a crash on 30th and Southwest Boulevard. The officers in that car, as well as the 2 people in the other car, faced non-life-threatening injuries. Just into our newsroom, several teenagers were involved in a serious crash on 27th and Agnes overnight. Officers say 5 teenagers were speeding on 27th Street when the 19-year-old driver lost control of the car, hit a building, a fire hydrant, and traveled through a front yard through a chain-link fence. A 16-year-old girl wasn't seriously hurt. A second teen went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The other teens and the driver refused medical treatment. Independence police responded to a shots fired incident at a Walmart Saturday night. This happened on South Boulder Road. Officers went to the scene at around 10 o'clock when they say during a fist fight in the parking lot, one person pulled out a gun and shot into the air. No one was shot or hurt. Federal agency is helping mourning families during the pandemic. We take a look at the new program that is easing financial burdens on families across the country. Time right now, 8:23. Welcome back. The Federal Emergency Management Agency is bringing some financial relief to families who have lost loved ones to the virus. A new program distributes funds to help with unexpected funeral costs. 41 Action News reporter Ariel Rothfield talked with one family who was hit with that unexpected cost.
The last 13 months at Serenity Funeral Home can be summed up by this.
It was definitely challenging,
Every single day, someone sat in these seats, mourning their loved ones who died from COVID-19.
When I say 7 days a week, this past Sunday we had a service and burial, and we're averaging 3 and sometimes 4 services a day. So this room, the lights never, very seldom go off.
One of those services was for Celeste Owens. She died on April 4th, 2020, after spending 11 days in the ICU.
We were talked every day, all day. Even when I was at work, I would call her on lunch, talk to her on my way to work, on my way from home, wherever I went.
The death of her mother took Gina Owens and her brother by surprise. Luckily, her mom had planned for the what-ifs, but so many families impacted by the pandemic had not.
There was a lot of funeral arrangements that were already made and already taken care of by her. So it wasn't as much of a strain as some people may have incurred. Because my mom was a smart woman.
To help others, Fema is offering up to $9,000 per burial, reimbursing families for costs like a casket or the funeral ceremony itself, so long as their loved one died from COVID-19. It's a pain Gina knows all too well.
Still would want to talk to her, think about her all the time, but I know that she's not suffering.
And an effort Serenity Funeral Home says will definitely help.
It is a very exhausting. You kind of have to pull on each other to get you through these days.
Reporting in Kansas City, Ariel Rothfield, 41 Action News.
So here's what you need to know to qualify for the FEMA grant. The death must have occurred in the U.S., and the death certificate must indicate it was attributed to COVID-19. The applicant must be a U.S. citizen, non-citizen, national, or qualified immigrant. And the funeral expenses had to incur after January 20th of 2020. We have the information on how to start the process on our website right now, kshb.com. Just look for this story. And FEMA wants to warn you about recent scams. The agency has already put out a fraud alert that scammers are contacting people about the program and impersonating government agents. FEMA says you should never give any payment or personal information to unsolicited calls or emails. Agency will not contact anyone until they have called FEMA or applied for assistance. Now, if you doubt a FEMA representative is legitimate, hang up and report it to the agency's helpline. The number on your screen right now, that number, 1-800-621-3362. Health officials are looking at getting more young people vaccinated. They take a look at just how important this move is.
You're watching 41 Action News.
Almost 8:30. Good morning. Welcome back to 41 Action News on this Sunday morning. I'm Bryant Madrick. Jeff Penner also here this morning with the first check of our forecast as we start this day. Looking behind you now at 6 o'clock, I saw a lot more cloud cover. Yep. Now to look behind you, there's still clouds, but it's starting to break up. There's some progress here.
Yeah, there's some sun shining through the clouds, and there's still a few rain showers out there, but not like we have been dealing with, just a few around. On Weather Track Radar, Sedalia, between Sedalia and Clinton, Missouri, that's where there's some heavier downpours, northern Marshall. There's also some trying to enter into Wyandotte County here, south of Leavenworth. A few little downpours, a little curl right here, a little disturbance moving by, a few light rain showers as well approaching Richmond. This will be the last of the rain showers, and then it'll be dry the rest of the day. We're looking pretty good. Right now, temperatures are in the low 40s, 42 to 44 around here, 48 in Chillicothe, 47 in Carrollton, and a breeze about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And we're also tracking a storm system. The one that came through here the other day has moved off to the east. There's some disorganized little weather systems moving by now. See these little patches of clouds. But what we're looking at is near Edmonton, Canada. This area of clouds, that is a storm system dropping south, and then it's going to turn east, and it could bring us some winter-like precipitation Monday night and Tuesday, and the cold air this afternoon will be entering the United States. Still quite a ways away from here, so we'll be around 60 to 62 degrees, a lot of clouds around, but a nice afternoon. We will go into detail on this chance of April snow here in a few minutes.
Jeff, thank you. The Starlight Theater is teaming up with the Community Blood Center for what they say may be their most important blood drive yet. This event will be held tomorrow and Tuesday from 10 to 4. You must wear a mask, and you're advised not to attend this blood drive if you have a fever or other symptoms of COVID-19. Appointments are strongly encouraged. You can sign up at savealifenow.org/group and use the group code EG9Z. It's on your screen right now. Kansas City Metro needs nearly 600 blood donations each day to treat patients, and right now, supply is only at 4-day supplies. Normally, in some cases, blood types are down to 3 days. Now, we recently spoke to the Community Blood Center. Staffers showed us this video of empty shelves they say should hold blood. They say there's been a chronic blood shortage during the pandemic.
Unfortunately, what we saw in 2020 was a pretty consistent blood shortage across all blood types, and that was simply because we didn't have donors coming in the door. Blood donation is essential. It's vital to our healthcare system, but it is a little scary to come out in the middle of a pandemic.
The center hopes the blood drive this week will increase their supply and get them out of the critical stage. 41 Action News anchor Taylor Himnes will be live there all morning tomorrow at Starlight, bringing you more information on the drive and how you can help. Well, the pandemic has impacted everyone, as well as students. Some were forced to sacrifice college as a result. New data shows that college enrollment sank 25% last year because of the pandemic. The survey from Junior Achievement and Citizens found that 1/4 of last year's high school graduates delayed their college plans, mainly because their parents or guardians were less able to provide financial support. The CDC director says hospitals nationwide are seeing younger COVID-19 patients. Here at home, one group partnered with Kansas City University to make sure college students are protected from the virus. 41 Action News reporter Dan Cohen takes us inside the clinic.
serving our mission of improving the well-being of the communities we serve.
Kansas City University is serving higher ed students from across the metro with their own vaccine clinic in a collegiate year, unlike any other.
We have students here that haven't even really seen our campus. We've had to give our first-year students that are 3/4 of the way through their first year a tour of the campus because they haven't actually had a chance to visit the campus.
This clinic through Samuel Rogers, administering Moderna vaccines, offers protection after this school year ends and for the upcoming fall term.
I think it's important for us because we're also, since we're college students, we don't always live in Missouri. We don't live in the same state, so we're always traveling, whether it's back home or like to see grandparents who also live in the same state. So because of that, I think it helps us be safe.
Those administering inoculations, first and second year medical students who are volunteers.
It's rewarding to be able to help people get that and feel that sense of relief after they receive a vaccination.
The pandemic will usher in a new generation of medical practitioners who are studying and living through this historic moment.
Fragility of life. They've seen very healthy people get very sick, and I think they're much more aware of what can happen.
Everyone at the clinic, those giving and receiving the vaccine, have all been touched personally by the past 13 months.
My uncle in Chicago actually got COVID, and unfortunately he passed away. It's real, and so I think it was just like a realization that this is affects everyone.
But they say the vaccine brings hope for a brighter future and an opportunity to share that hope with their peers.
I wanted to be able to look back during this time and think that I had done something to make a difference.
Dan Cohen, 41 Action News. New this morning, one local business is working to make sure they're creating an inclusive environment for their customers. 41 Action News reporter Jordan Best live with more on how a local cafe is making sure that their employees are able to serve all their customers. Jordan?
Good morning. Yeah, for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, just ordering that simple cup of coffee can be very difficult for someone who doesn't know sign language here at a coffee shop. But here at Ca Phe, it's not an issue because all the employees here are required to take a basic sign language learning class. So someone who is deaf or hard of hearing can come in and they can order that favorite drink of theirs with no issues. They got to work on their sign language yesterday here, employees, with their sipping and signing event. So people from the deaf community as well as hard of hearing and ASL students came in for this sipping and signing event. So everyone got to have their favorite cup of joe and sign together. And places like Ca Phe noticed the need for people to know more sign language and to make sure that others feel very welcomed when they come here to the cafe.
And I think that's the point. I think that's the point is community. So people within the community try to involve other members of the community, especially when you have language and culture included. People are so much more open-minded in those particular scenarios.
Ca Phe is closed today and tomorrow, but they open back up on Tuesday. I love seeing more and more businesses, including people who are deaf and hard of hearing, really ordering that cup of coffee easier for them every time they step into a place like Ca Phe. In the West Bottom, Jordan Betts, 41 Action News.
Thanks, Jordan. And these are the 7 computer models we look at. They're all predicting some amount of snow, and there's some agreement. But we'll put some numbers to this here in just a couple of minutes.
And in a moment, a couple is doing what they can to help people in our community. We hear their story and how they're reaching out to others in need.
The 41 Action News Weather Academy. Here's Jeff Penner.
Our topic today, ingredients for severe weather. First ingredient, you need a storm system in the upper levels of the atmosphere to create rising motion. Rising motion is the key to get those big thunderstorms. At the surface, fronts are important. You get northwest or west winds meeting south winds. The air converges. It can't go into the ground, so it needs to rise. That aids in rising motion. Now, you can have a storm, you can have converging air near the front, but you need sufficient amounts of warm, humid air, mostly from the Gulf of Mexico, to support the bigger thunderstorms. You need that kind of moisture. So the other thing you need, if you want to take the severe weather event to another level is wind shear. Winds blowing in different directions at different levels, and what happens is that can cause a rotation in the air. A horizontal cylinder can form even in clear air, but then you get the rising motion, and that cylinder is spinning, and a thunderstorm forms. Now all of a sudden it is a vertical cylinder rotating, and that can be favorable for tornadoes. So when we go through our checklist here, and for severe weather ingredients, lifting mechanisms are important. Talked about the storm system in the front. Temperature over 70, dew point over 60 are important as well. It needs to be warm enough and humid enough to support bigger thunderstorms. Now, yes, you can get severe weather when it's cool, but usually you need it warmer and more humid most often. Cold air aloft to make the atmosphere unstable, and then that wind shear. So when you have a cool week during April, May, and June, that can be good news, because that means the severe weather threats are lower. Even if you have these other ingredients, it's not warm enough or humid enough, then the threat of severe weather is much, much lower during a cool spring week. I am meteorologist Jeff Penner for 41 Action News Weather Academy.
The 41 Action News Weather Academy. Join our Facebook group today.
Well, Sporting KC opened the MLS season on the road Saturday night. Amidst injuries, the club just eager to get on the field out on the East Coast against the New York Red Bulls. And it was New York who would strike first in the 46th minute off the header here. That's Red Bulls' Caden Clark knocking it past John Pulskamp, the 19-year-old making his MLS debut. Sporting trails 1-0, but here comes the answer. Gadikinda off the penalty kick levels the game out at 1. We're just in the 58th minute, and less than a minute later, here's some more action. Gary Shelton off to Daniel Shallowy, scoring his first goal since September of 2019. Final 2-1 Sporting KC. The club returning home on Friday.
The resiliency in the group to come back and get 2 goals like they did and not fold. Excellent, I would say, for first game to come back from something like that, just an excellent mentality.
Well, it was a good day for Kansas City all around on Saturday. Plenty of action going on over at the K. A doubleheader for the Royals, who headed into Saturday atop of the AL Central. We'll pick up Game 2. Blue Jays on the board first with 1. We jump to the bottom of the 3rd. Andrew Benintendi here, grounding it to right. Gerard Dyson heads home. The play at the plate, no good. Overthrown ball gets away. Kansas City ties it up at 1. We're still in the 3rd. Carlos Santana here, sending this one sailing to right center field. Benny runs it home. KC takes a 2-1 lead. What a day for Santana after picking up his 1,000th walk in Game 1. Toronto adds on 1 in the 4th. We're tied at 2 until the 7th. Bottom of the 7th, of course, it's a doubleheader, so only 7 innings. Salvador Perez there with an absolute bomb. That one's going to land all the way in the fountains. It's a walk-off win for the Royals, 3-2 over Toronto. Salvi picking up his 3rd walk-off homer in his career.
So it's pretty fun every time you have the opportunity, and something like that happen. It's good for the team, good for everybody. Good for the player, and then the more important thing is we win the game.
And first game of the doubleheader going much differently. KC hitless until the 6th. That's Nicky Lopez breaking the drought. Royals only get in 1-run. Game went to Toronto 5-1. KC unable to bounce back after that early deficit. The Royals go for the series win on Sunday. In college ball, playing doubleheaders on Saturday as well. K-State baseball still looking for their 2nd win of the season. The Wildcats may have taken a little inspiration from the Royals. Trying to start out hot here. Bottom of the 5th. 1 on. Dylan Kaplinger drives this ball to deep left. It's a 2-run shot. The Wildcats cut the lead to 4. We stay in the same inning. Nick Goodwin here, finding a hole up the middle for a double. Cameron Yulston comes around to score. K-State cutting the lead to 2. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Bases loaded here. Dylan Phillips goes down swinging, though. K-State falling in this one 6-4. They're going to meet back up on Sunday for the rubber match at 1 p.m. And Missouri at Florida, 2nd game of the doubleheader. Top of the 9th, 1 on. Missouri trying to forge a comeback here. Ty Wilsmeyer with a single to left. Mike Coletta scores on this one. The Tigers pull to within 2 runs.